Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. It's time now for Media Watch, where we find out what the journalists here in France are tweeting, talking, and traditionally writing about as well. They still do that, don't they? Good evening to James Creedon.
On websites now.
Yes, they do on websites, and you find it now. Bit of controversy today following a decision by some French TV stations to broadcast what is apparently a tape of negotiations between police and the serial killer, Mohamed Merah, who was shot dead by police earlier this year.
That's right. And so just to very quickly show you, this has been one of the big stories discussed in the French media today. It's even being talked about in the British media. You can see here on the Telegraph, Toulouse killer Mohamed Merah's recording sparks outrage. And indeed it has, because the Interior Minister has condemned the TV channels TF1, BFM TV and iTélé for having broadcast extracts of these supposed negotiations between Mohamed Merah and the police in that 32-hour siege that had everyone gripped back in March. In any case, lots of people saying, you know, with the families in particular, saying, look, you know, more elements of this coming out and being broadcast in the media. Now, if you remember, Mohamed Merah allegedly recorded his killings, and so the family are saying, look, if these sort of details are coming out now, the negotiations between the police and Mohamed Merah, should we be afraid that the recordings of the visual recordings of
including
of the killings
children that he shot dead?
That's right. Could they then surface online? And where are we going to? You know, we have to be careful that this is an investigation. It should stay, but you know, in the hands of investigators. So just a quick look at some of the tweets about that. Some of the sentences that came out in that recording. La mort, je l'aime comme vous aimez la vie. I love death as you love life, he allegedly said to the police. Others saying that, essentially there was worse stuff seen on French television than this over the weekend. For example, an Afghan woman being executed by the Taliban. So perhaps there's too much controversy around the voice of Mohamed Merah being broadcast on television. So there you go. It's a controversy dominating the French media today.
All right. Well, let's move on to another story.
Yes.
Also controversial.
Yes.
A letter sent from Mahatma Gandhi to Adolf Hitler has been circulating on social media.
That's right. Now, this letter isn't entirely new. It is known to the public before, but for some reason, BuzzFeed, the American website, highlighted it today, and it has been massively discussed on Twitter. Now, in the letter, Mahatma Gandhi, back in 1939, referred to Hitler as his dear friend. Now, he was pleading with him not to start World War II, and Gandhi was, of course, a pacifist, Hitler a bit less so, and he did refer to him at the end as, I remain your most sincere, or your sincere friend, which got BuzzFeed kind of wondering why and how that could be the case. Now, in any case, he obviously didn't listen to him because he pleaded with him not to start World War II.
Yes, thank you, James.
We do know that in fact didn't
turned out
work very well.
Around, didn't it? Yeah.
So in any case, BuzzFeed looking at that today and looking at the details of that letter, and it has been massively circulated online. It is unusual. You wouldn't imagine that these two individuals would have corresponded, but they did.
Not many people would know that.
That's right. And they were Time Person of the Year as well in 1930 and in 1938, respectively. Gandhi.
Yes, it was a strange decade, wasn't it, the 1930s?
It was a little bit odd, and obviously his pleas with him to try the pacifist route didn't work.
Didn't listen, did he?
Yeah, no.
All right, could have changed the course of history, that letter. Maybe it never got there.
Maybe it didn't arrive. And actually, as I was reliably informed earlier, it was there was a misspelling in it as well. Her Hitler. It should have been Hern Hitler. And apparently in German grammar, Armin Georgian was telling me that it should be Herrn. And Hitler did have a short fuse, so maybe that sparked him off. Maybe he just thought, you know what, I'm not going to listen to Gandhi.
It was all Gandhi's fault. There you go. All right. Now let's finish with an embarrassing moment for the mayor of Nice, back in the south of France.
That's right. Now, Christian Estrosi, there's a big jazz festival down in Nice at the moment, the International Nice Jazz Festival, and every year they have a sort of a mascot or a guest of honour. This year it was Dee Dee Bridgewater, who is a well-known jazz singer. Right. Let's take a listen to what Christian Estrosi said, because he got somewhat confused when he was paying homage to her.
People often say, my dear Dee Dee, that you're a jazz diva. In fact, you're a much more modest and simple person. That's easy to see. A few moments ago, you were standing beside your daughter, Diana Rose, who's following in the footsteps of her mummy. And I know you're very proud of her.
So hang on, she said that Diana Ross was her daughter.
Yeah, and Diana Ross was born in 1944, I think, and she's quite a bit older than Dee Dee Bridgewater.
Oh dear.
So it's just, I mean, what was he getting at? Now, what the confusion probably came from the fact that Dee Dee Bridgewater does have a famous singing daughter by the name of China Moses, and so maybe Moses and Ross, Rose, and he pronounced her name Diana Rose. So I think Rose and Moses, he got mixed up between the two. He apologized later to China Moses on Twitter, via Twitter. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry for this little lapsus. I do hope that you have a wonderful career ahead." And actually, China Moses said, "Well, looks like I was right to do a cover version of Where Did Our Love Go," which was the Diana Ross song, on my latest album, because
nice
he's mixing me up with her.
Nice bit of publicity all
That's
round.
right. So it's great for China Moses, but not so good for Dee Dee Bridgewater, who is now presumed to have a daughter who is older than her.
And but she did
Ross.
take it very well. She didn't.
I'm not sure she understood.
The fixed grin. Sorry.
I'm not sure she understood.
She didn't have the
She's like,
translation.
"What is he talking about, Diana Ross?
I'm not Diana Ross. Oh, Michael Jackson.
What is he on about?"
All
So
right.
very embarrassing for the Mayor of Nice.
Excellent. Good stuff. James Creedon with Media Watch. Thank you very
Thanks,
much
Laura.
indeed. All right, time now for web news, including tributes for the American actor Ernest Borgnine, who's just died.